So,
Yeah.
who here wants to be a content creator? Cool. Nice.
Then you've come to the right place, I think.
Who here is a content creator? Nice.
yeah.
I love it.
Acceptance is a strong first step.
Who here just doesn't like to raise your hand? Hey, gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go.
Our extroverted introverts.
So we're gonna get a little started here. This is more of a free-form panel. We're gonna talk for about X amount of time until we have nothing left to say. Although we do have Taffy up here, and he loves to keep talking.
I will not talk often.
I was about to say your job is to talk.
He's just gonna sit there and look pretty.
And so we will have some Q&A at the end, so make sure you do save questions. But first of all, let's do some introductions. We'll start down at the end.
Hello, I am Secret Agent Jacob. I'm an affiliate on Twitch.
My name is Jared. I go by the 8-Bit Drummer, and I play drums.
My name's Ryan. I go by McLaffy Taffy on Twitch. I've been a Twitch streamer for 8 years, partnered for 7, and started making content 11 years ago. And I kind of play whatever I want now.
Yeah, you
Kind
do.
of, yeah.
Let's go. It's the dream. Hi, I'm HC Justin. I guess I get to be like the dinosaur on the stage that I've been streaming
older
on.
than me on stage.
Well, I mean, no, don't say that. That's a lie.
In Twitch years. In Twitch years.
What the hell? But no, I've been streaming for since 2011, and a partner since 2014.
God.
And I used to be a strictly shooter streamer. I'd play like PUBG and stuff like that, and now I just like play with cats mostly.
Yeah.
And just kind of hang out. And
What
it's nice.
What are your cats' names?
Taco and Boba.
That's right.
You gotta name your cats after food.
If you guys want to see pictures of Taco and Boba, you can go to Instagram and find him at.
Oh, HC Justin.
All right,
as
cool.
luck would have it.
That way, if you get bored, just go to his Instagram and like cats.
Wow, way to set the bar high.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, we're
Set
killing
it
it
high
today.
on Thursday. So, my name's Noah Downs. I'm a lawyer. I represent 3 of the 4 people, and I know the 4th. I'll let you guys guess. Up here, I'm also a Twitch partner. I stream solely for charity, though. But these guys taught me everything I know, and so I'm up here moderating the panel and also kind of doing legal things. I do have to do a quick disclaimer that anything I talk about that's on the legal side of stuff is for informational purposes only and is not specific legal advice. It does not create an attorney-client relationship with you or me. What I'm trying to say is, don't try this legal advice at home. Go to a friend's house. All right, cool.
There's nothing better than a disclaimer on a panel like this because you have to have one with a lawyer on the panel. It's ridiculous.
It's
Where's the
fantastic.
asterisk? I need the asterisk.
Yeah. So, first question I want to kind of ask you guys, because this is going to be different for all 4 of you, is how did you get started streaming, and like what was the kind of moment you realized, or YouTube, in fact, with Taffy, and what was the kind of moment that you really said, hey, I want to be a content creator and I think I can do this? Any order, go for it.
Oh no. I need order.
All right, well, I guess I'm first.
Please do.
The opposite of disc only. So, I started streaming in 2015. I literally just started streaming because I needed something to get my mind off of a bad breakup I just got out of. Literally, that was it. It was just, I wanted to do something to get my mind off of it. And I started streaming on Twitch in May, and in July, I was partnered because the music section had just opened up, and I started streaming at the literal perfect time. After that, I realized that I wanted to do it full time once it started bringing in more revenue than my business that I was running at the time. So I was like, you know what? That's cool. I worked both jobs full time. I did both full time for about 1.5 years. And then I went full time about 2 years in, and I've been moving forward ever since. It's been a lot of fun.
I was a failed actor. Still trying. I had that stick-to-itiveness spirit, but I'd sucked pretty bad at acting, it appears. So I was waiting tables and bartending because that's the cliche. And then the housing market collapsed and the finance of the world imploded. And so I was not really a failed actor anymore. I was just a waiter.
Oh, no.
And as luck would have it, like I had a buddy who was like half my age who invited me to play Modern Warfare 2, and it was like the first console game I played in a really long time. And I got absolutely dumpstered by some kid that was like as old as my shoes. And so I went to YouTube looking for like tips and pointers, and found the very early years of like Machinima and Machinima Respawn. So like Scene Enters and Hutch and all those guys.
Rip.
And it didn't take very long at all for me to be like, yo, there's an entire subculture. And it was before there was any money in it. And I was like, man, I want to do that. And so I started doing it as a creative outlet with a friend of mine. And this was back during the days where you would hear rumors floating through the wind saying like, oh, did you hear so-and-so made enough revenue off of his YouTube ad rev to buy a brand new computer? And we're like, shut up. That didn't happen. There's not that kind of, no. This guy, I heard CNETers made $100,000 last year. No, we did not. There's
He's
not
playing
that kind
video games.
So I did it as a distraction because I needed a creative outlet because I was waiting tables at 32 with absolutely no plans. So and then I don't know, man. I got very, very lucky and it caught, and now I've been doing it full time with nothing else, even in the periphery, for about 6 years. So
Yeah, hell yeah. I feel like mine's a little all over the place. I don't know
It's
where
fine.
to. So genuinely, when I started, it was 2011, and I honestly wanted to play single player games, but I hated them because they were boring. So I would stream and sit in Ventrilo with 10 of my friends, and they would watch me play games, but that gave me like my first 10 viewers.
Oh my God.
Which was enough to bump me up a little bit, and like people would just wander in. And over time, I was just like, I guess I just do this.
This is
And,
what
like,
I do now.
This is what I do now. But I think it was like, like right place, right time. There's other weird things that happened. Like I had a case of someone mistaking me for someone else and inviting me into a YouTube thing. And I was just like, I'm just going to roll with this. I'm not going to tell him he's got the wrong guy.
no.
just little fun things like that. I genuinely feel like a lot of this has just been kind of like stumbling into
Yeah.
just working out.
Failing up.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
failing up.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that.
Did he ever realize that you was the wrong?
Oh,
He invited the
never.
wrong
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Okay.
Eventually. We don't talk.
Oh, you don't talk. Okay, good. Okay, cool. And then Jacob, our most successful affiliate.
Yeah. So who here knows what Persona 3 is?
Ayo.
Okay, so I had never played a Persona game, but I had a friend that I went to high school with that was like, hey, you should play Persona 3. It's really cool. I'd like to watch you play it. But they were going to Japan to study something. And I was like, well, you're not here. I can't play it. And they're like, well, there's this thing called Twitch.
Nice.
And now I'm here. That's it.
Excellent. I love that.
That's it. Yeah, it was pure luck that I started the way that I did because I had no interest in streaming. And it's been almost 7 years now, and
Gotcha.
I'm up here.
Cool. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you up here, bud.
Thanks.
So yeah, you've all had your origin stories. So in terms of full time, like are all of you full time? Just kind of going down the line. Okay, good. Just making sure. Yep. In terms of going full time, what was the kind of the moment where you realized, hey, I can do this full time, and how did you get there?
I paid a bill. No, genuinely. It hit a point where I was like, wow, like this is actually sustainable, huh?
Gotcha.
But I think, sorry. I don't
No,
know
you're good.
No, keep going.
It's super diverse.
No,
but,
do it.
As soon as, I don't know, once it hit a point where I was like you don't really need to invest too much into this. It's just a thing now.
Right.
That was when I was like, damn, this is full time. This is just the day to day. Yeah.
Mine's weird. Save me for last.
Okay.
I'll save him from himself. So the light bulb moment for me was I got really lucky and I got rated by a really big content creator whenever I was it was right after I had gotten partnered, and I remember on that night I made $370, and I was floored because that is like the most amount of money I've ever, like at that point, that I had ever made in like a day, if that makes sense. And I was losing my mind over that. I took my friends out to IHOP, I paid for them and everything.
Oh my God.
And
IHOP.
it was awesome. And
I
now
love that.
And now, like, that was the night where I remember I was talking to a buddy of mine. His name is Homek, the vocal butcher, and I was just like, dude, I want to do this for a living. Like, this is what I want to do. And it was it was about a year after that that I was finally able to like go full time, because it started to outweigh the amount of work that I was doing on my regular job. And that is one of the pointers that I would give is like, if you were doing this and you want to do it full time, make sure you have like a backup until that backup is obsolete, if that makes sense. Like, if you like, whenever you start making way more than the work that you're doing on the side,
Way more.
way more. That is a really good pointer to be like, hey, this you can take that risk, because if you put some away, that is the way to do it. But that moment for me was like that $370 something, man. I lost my mind over that, and I wanted to play drums for a living at that point.
Hell yeah.
So I would say the moment that I realized, hey, this is something I want to do properly with my life was a viewer that had been around, I'd say about 7 months. It was about a year into streaming, they were just like, hey, I really like your content, and I want to make sure that you can keep doing that. So I'm just going to pay your internet bill.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Wait,
and,
what?
And I live in the middle of nowhere, so internet's pretty terrible. Yeah. And they did. I thought they were kidding at first, and then they paid my internet bill, and I was like, there's money to be made here. How do I do this?
All I need is 10 suckers. And
All right, who wants to pay my
but it's not
electric bill next? It's like, that's about it. Yeah, just as soon as I realized that it could be done,
Yeah.
it becomes how do you make it your own? And yeah.
Tabby, tell us your weird thing.
All right, so this is going to be the bullet point version because it is spanning 11 years. So
Jesus.
I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
So I started off as YouTube. My buddy and I liked Machinima, but we didn't like what they were putting out at that time. Like, we felt kind of underwhelmed by it. And he and I both said that if we were going to do that, if we were going to, shit talk it, then we needed to at least try to prove that we had a better idea. Like, we couldn't just gripe into the void. So he and I started making content and became Machinima producers, and then we became Respawn producers with a weekly episodic. Still no money. So now we're 2 years in. 3 years in, we're having kind of a crisis of faith because we've been doing this for 3 years and we've got maybe a couple grand between us to show for it. I go to graduate school. I drop out of graduate school and go back to content creation because that's where my heart was. This guy and I had a falling out. That channel now has 1.7 million subs on YouTube, and that's a thing. But I am no longer legally, it's not legally okay for me to say that that is my channel anymore. I've signed some paperwork. So at that point, I was pretty crestfallen, and I just grabbed the part of the viewership that identified with me out of the tandem and went to Twitch and just kind of went to lick my wounds. Still didn't make a lot of money. Now we're about 6 years in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you a glimpse of a timeline of this is what it looks like when you started at a good time. So I'm the negative one on the panel. They sit Jared next to me because he brightens up the mood. Because I'm gonna really sit here and gut punch your dreams for about an hour.
The dichotomy is amazing. Like, let me tell you.
Listen, and his advice is every bit as valid and important for you to hear. But we could not be more diametrically opposed in our viewpoints.
Yeah.
So I was going at this. I was making maybe at best a couple grand a month, and that was cool. But I have a wife and 2 kids, and I was the sole breadwinner. And I was about 6 weeks away from, in 2018, having my plane fly directly into the side of a mountain.
Not literally.
I was
the channel.
2 rent checks away from total bankruptcy. And I didn't really have a plan, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just never let my audience know I was in trouble, and I kept doing it. And then about 6 weeks before I went flat broke, the tender caught. I don't know what happened. I didn't have any influence over it. I didn't do anything different for that stream than the day before. But the next thing I knew was, for the first time in 8 years of content creation, my monthly burn was covered. I need about $5,000 a month to live to cover all my expenses, and I had done that. And then it just kept going. And then it climbed, and now I'm at a place where I went from being a table waiter making 25 grand a year to being somebody who has a financial planner and is talking about retirement. So
Yeah.
That's intense. And as someone who was with you, like we were looking at jobs for him.
dude, the
like,
back of my neck is on fire reliving all that. Like,
Yeah.
there is heat radiating off the back of my neck.
that was
right
pretty
now.
real. One of the things I do want to echo is something that Jared said, is that always begin with the end in mind. Have your plan B. Because I represent over 600 content creators as a lawyer. And it doesn't work out 100% of the time. And a lot of them need to have backup plans. And it might be that you need to take a break, or something happens. Life happens.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that viscerally over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And so it's something where you should always have that plan B. Always when you're working towards becoming a content creator, strive and put every single ounce of effort you can, because you don't have that random, I can cover my expenses if you don't show up to work. But as part of that, you're going to meet people and you're going to be able to network and stay in the gaming industry. And you'll get to a point where no matter what your content creator future is, your career there, you can have a career in gaming. And so as long as you are present and you're not an asshole, you're going to have a career in gaming for something.
Can I do just a real quick point of clarification?
Absolutely.
I feel like we're going to give there's two very different sets of advice that'll come out of the table. One is if you're a hobbyist, none of what we're saying is applicable. Stream whenever you want and have fun. That's it. You need a camera if you want a camera, and a computer that can handle OBS. That's all you need.
Yeah, like I genuinely, like the advice, like whenever people come to me for streaming advice, the first thing I stress to them is like, you really don't need to invest a lot of money in this.
Yeah.
You're investing a ton of time.
Yeah,
But,
and that is a very important thing, is like most of us started off as a hobby.
Yeah.
Like whenever I started drumming, as I said, I started it to get my mind off of a bad situation. It was just to have fun. And then whenever it, as Laffy Taffy said, caught tinder, whenever it catches fire, whenever it goes, that's whenever you need to, pick yourself up and just go for it. Yeah. It's the opportunities will come. You just have to be willing to move forward with those opportunities and take advantage of those situations in a really good way. Because there's going to be times whenever you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but if and now let me say that rest is very important as well. Always make sure that you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
But being consistent will allow those moments to hit and hit hard, and they will be awesome moments that you can look back at and talk about on a panel with other people. Like that's the main thing. Just be present, but also do it in moderation.
If you're in this for a hobby, if you were out there and you're saying, hey, I want to do this, I want to be a content creator, but I really love being a rocket engineer, which if you are, cool, raise your hands because that would be dope. All right, cool. Nice. We got one guy out there.
Yeah, dude, let's go.
We got them. This is amazing.
No, we're clapping.
One
You cannot
person
walk
needs to
this
lie
back
in case
now.
we have a prize or something.
Yeah, listen. You're going to the moon, and so in the event that you're doing this as a hobby, and you don't want it to be anything else, you should still be ready just in case something catches fire. Like
Absolutely.
Good point.
That was my case.
The other prong of that is that when I say I'm going to really beat up some dreams, is that the advice that we give, even if it's hard advice up here, first of all, we could all be full of shit. Just assume that we are. There's so many people who are going to give you advice, and most of them don't know what they're talking about. So assume that we're in that group and vet what we say. The number of people I've seen that are stream coaches on like social media that I wouldn't trust to walk my dog, let alone run my channel. Take everything that's told to you with a grain of salt, but also know 9 million people stream, and we're not talking about like just YouTube and everything else, but 9 million people stream on Twitch every month.
Yeah.
The 10,000 people got leaked in that Twitch hack, and the bottom, 2/3 of them didn't make minimum wage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just go into it with a real understanding of what you're up against.
Well,
it's fine if you want to tackle some monumental odds. It can be done. It can be done. But be realistic about it going in.
Let me dive in real quick and ask you, for all the aspiring creators out there, what is the number one thing? And take a second if you need to. I can put on Jeopardy music or something. But what is the number one thing that you would say to an aspiring content creator who's in that hobbyist, full-time, limbo, seesaw area? What is the number one thing that you would say has stabilized or given you a benefit in your career? We can talk. Any one of you can go first. Jared, you look like you're ready, though.
Man, I love talking about this type of stuff, man. It's so fun because I want to see people go for it and succeed in this type of thing. My number one thing, I have the Triforce of streaming, is what I like to call it. Have fun, do it in moderation, do it consistently.
Yeah.
That's the three. And then if you know what the Triforce looks like, there's an upside down triangle in the middle of it. That right there is the guess factor. That is luck. That is being in the right place at the right time. That is uploading something to TikTok randomly and it goes super viral and you have a bunch of new viewers and stuff. Yeah. That's all that extra. But if you're having fun, it's going to keep you doing it consistently. And if you're doing it in moderation, it's not going to burn you out. That is my main 3 points that I would put for that. Also, diversify. If you're a Twitch streamer and you're not utilizing YouTube or somewhere else to put your content, you're missing out on a massive audience. And I'm not talking like you have to do like 8-hour streams and then you have to do like 8 hours worth of video editing every day. No, take your streams and make them into shorts and do it that way. You know, like diversification is so important, especially nowadays, because it's really, really hard to get noticed on Twitch. It's hard to get noticed anywhere, but the more lines you have out, the more fish you can catch.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know. That's actually, I just recently started doing YouTube again because I used to do it and then I stopped. But that's the number one thing that friends of mine who are content creators, they will shake me and be like, Justin, start your YouTube. Start your YouTube. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to. I just forget.
I want to echo Jared's sentiment again. Is that I was paying editors last year, but I'm getting back into a place where I want the conveyor belt for me, direct to TikTok to YouTube.
That is exactly what I did too. Like
Yeah.
I had like an editor, I had somebody making my thumbnails and stuff. And last year I was like, I want to set a system so that I can just do this in my spare time and have fun doing it. And man, it was a mess for like the last part of the year. But once you get those systems in place and you can just be like, oh hey, well that's a highlight, pop that up, like set a marker, make clips, use clips, like stuff like that. Once you get that system in place, it's so easy.
That's for real a 2023 goal for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally.
What about you, Jacob?
So to go on with something that you were mentioning, Jared, that middle of your Triforce about being at the right place at the right time. I think that luck as a content creator is only really 20% luck. The 80% is being prepared for that luck to happen.
Yes.
It may never come, but you need to be ready for it to come. If you get a raid from someone and it's like 10,000 viewers, what are you going to do? Are you just going to or are you going to have something ready? Are you going to grip every single person?
Lock up on those dude, or it's
exactly.
it's such a missed opportunity because they don't know how to speak after that.
Yeah, because
It's
you've got what, like 10 seconds to impress
maybe.
people?
Maybe.
You
Well,
gotta-
you got
gotta
10
be
seconds to press that ad button and get all that ad revenue.
Honestly, I'll never forget when I was, this is a while ago now, but I got a pretty big raid from a friend. I'm pretty sure it was Richard. But it was like, I got like a 2,000 viewer raid. I was like a maybe 200 viewer streamer at the time. And after the raid, he DM'd me 10 minutes later being like, hey man, this is harsh, but next time if this happens, pretend like you've been there. He was like, you handled that badly. All of my viewers thought, wow, this is a guy no one watches.
Damn.
I was like, damn, harsh advice, but honestly, like applicable. Like anytime I got a big raid from there, I would just try to hit my stride and be like, hey, everyone, how you doing?
Yeah,
Welcome in, instead of, like,
you
sweating.
really have to be ready to show people what your product is fast. Because they'll only be there for the feel-good moment for about 10 seconds, and then they'll take off.
Well, I'll kind of chime in there. One of our friends, who here has heard of Ninja? Okay, well, he's not my friend. He's cool, but he's not like, I don't know him.
That answer changes based on how many hands went up. If it's a lot of hands, then they're tight buddies. But if it's not a lot of friends, like, yeah, I know him. It's fine, I guess.
Our friend, back when PUBG was huge, Battlegrounds, our friend Deadpine was streaming Battlegrounds all the time. And Ninja was like a 7,000 person streamer at the time, average concurrence. This is like right before his come up. And, but he, obviously 7,000 is not bad. And he raids into Deadpine, and Deadpine is final 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And
And he was getting ready to sign off. He was about to go shopping with his wife.
Yeah, he'd announced to chat that he was logging off for the day.
last game.
And that he was logging off for the day. He was final 10. He was like, okay, I'm going to try and clutch up, win this, get that victory royale, or whatever you called it in PUBG, chicken dinner, or whatever.
That's the one.
Yeah, thank you. And and he gets the 7,000 viewer raid from Ninja, and he's like, I'm not going shopping.
Baby.
You'll understand,
Go
right?
by yourself. Ninja just raided. I'm playing PUBG for another 7 hours. Love you.
And
So can I
damn it!
actually?
Hold on, let me finish that.
Yeah, go for it.
And damn it, if he didn't clutch up, and he's final 2,
Yeah.
and he didn't finish it, but everybody was impressed. He kept a lot of viewers,
A lot of people wanted to see how that ended.
Yeah,
They didn't
and-
give a damn about him, but they were into the content.
and people supported him, and he actually kept a lot of those viewers. He's normally a Minecraft streamer,
Yeah.
and so at the time he was trying to diversify his content. And so he ended up being able to keep a lot of people. So that is not to say, like, I'm out here and we're saying, like, hey, stick to it, grind, show up to work. But if you get that opportunity, everyone's like, oh, man, I really can make it if I get rated by Ninja or Tim the Tatman or whatever it is. Yeah, but you got to be ready for it. So make sure that you're good at your craft and good at the craft of streaming. That way it looks natural. You're like, oh, hey, welcome, guys, instead of like, oh, God.
Honestly, like real advice I like to give a lot is just be cool.
Be
as
cool.
cool as you can.
Be cool, baby. Be
Yep.
cool.
People love that.
In those situations, I can guarantee. Well, I can vouch that your significant other will understand if you're a bit late.
Yeah.
Because mine is right there. And there have been times when I've been rated, or if I have like a lot of support coming through, and I know I'm supposed to be home around like 8 o'clock for dinner. She'll call me and be like, "No, you stay on that kit. No, you keep playing. You keep going. You know, yeah, like no, you're good. Make that bread." And it's always that's just an extra thing.
Yeah, and also just to kind of chime in on that like little relationship nugget that we got, also feel free to stream your wedding like they did. So
It was fun. It was a good time.
My one thought really about bridging the gap from like part-time to full-time is, if you're like me, I to this day I still have no idea why I suddenly was making full-time money, and I kept waiting for it to go away, and it hasn't. Some 5 years later.
Dude, I feel like I go in and out of it, but there's a part of me that's like still waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm
Right.
like, dude, it's been
Yeah,
8 years. You could relax.
When I started making enough money to live, I felt like a criminal. Like I just felt like there's no way I should make the amount of money I was making
Yeah,
for
like
doing what I was
something's
doing.
wrong.
So when you're trying to gauge how to make that step, you might be in a place where you actually have the chance, like they've been talking about, to influence factors that'll either work for or against you. And the only thing that I can say, which was a really rough lesson for me to learn, was that you have to be willing to look at the data. You have to be willing to get onto Sully Gnome. I had a buddy of mine named Nate who was the guy who stomped on my dreams, but he was right. So like at one point I was playing The Binding of Isaac 8 hours a day because that was what brought people into my channel. But when Fortnite and PUBG were coming up, I was like, yeah, like 40 years ago when I was a kid, I played shooters. I'm down. I played Outlaw on Atari. We can do this. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my channel like in the morning I play roguelikes, and in the afternoon I play shooters. And I was really committing to it. And my buddy Nate was just like, it was the biggest whale on my channel at the time. And it was just like, I don't like watching you play shooters. And I was like, well, I don't know, it's my channel, tough shit. And he's like, well, I did bring up Sully Gnome. I'm looking at some numbers here. And I was like, don't show me, don't show me, don't show me. And he's like, your viewership goes down to 20% of what it normally is. How much money are you making? And I was like, but I'm happy. And he's like, play it offline then. Yeah. He's like, don't play it at work.
Yeah.
And ever since then, there's been like, it's one of those things where, you're super fired up because you're so excited to play the entire Mass Effect franchise for everyone to watch, or you're really fired up because you can't wait for people to see how good you are at Valorant or whatever. Unless that's what's drawing your main audience in, you are more than permitted and encouraged to tweak and change things, whether that's how you encourage people to spend money on your channel or what you think will put asses in seats, because ultimately that's the goal, and fiddle with those things, tweak those knobs and everything. But just wanting something that you've changed to work, if the data doesn't line up with it, you got to be ready to, as they say in the advertising industry, kill your babies. You got because it's what it feels like every time you come up with a creative idea. It just feels miserable to put it on the cutting room floor. But I almost never get to play shooters anymore unless he invites me as an offline guest to his stream. Which bums me out. I like those games, but I also have a mortgage to pay.
League of Legends, like one of my favorite games of all time that I have not played in about 6 years.
Yeah, I got 1,600 hours in Dota. I've streamed it once. So because nobody wants to watch that.
So one of the things I want to highlight like the diversity of content we have up here, because you all play different things and do different things. You're really good at different things. You make your money very differently. But also I want to kind of talk a little bit. So first of all, how would you describe your channel's content makeup, and how has it like evolved, and what would you kind of advice would you give to people as they're trying to figure out what they want to make their content around? Let's start with Jacob. Good luck.
Yeah. I think the best way to describe my content is structured chaos. Which sounds kind of insane, but if you can create content that people are excited to see what you're going to do just because they have no idea what's going to come next, they're going to stay to see what could possibly be next. And you want people to stay, right? That's what we were talking about. But it needs to be structured too. Like something that Jared was mentioning is being consistent, right? Like if you stream 3 days in a row and then you disappear for a few weeks and then you come back for 4 days and then you disappear for a month, like people are never going to know when they're able to catch you. Think about YouTube videos, right? Like if you're subscribed to somebody on YouTube and you watch a bunch of videos and then they just drop off the face of the earth, a lot of people are probably going to unsubscribe from them because they're not getting content from it, and that can overall hurt your channel. And the same thing applies with live streaming. You need to be consistent with it. You need to pick a time, pick a day or days, and be like, yes, I'm going to be live. So that way when people get to that time of day, they know you're going to be there, and they're more likely to show up than if you just randomly go live whenever you feel like it. Which you should still do that, because that can be fun. That can lead to chaos. People will be like, he's live and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. What's up with that? They'll click on it just because they want to know why you're live at 4 o'clock in the morning.
But they also have to know the other stream that's scheduled is coming too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you wear yourself out going live randomly, then you won't have the energy for your scheduled content. So you kind of have to balance that.
Audiences are Pavlovian like that. Like
Yes.
you have to, not to make them sound like show ponies or dogs, but you have to train your audience to know when to expect you. I'm at a place now, 8 years in, where I didn't always have my show in the morning. But I'm definitely at a place now where, like, for today and tomorrow while I'm up here, I guarantee you my Discord server is filled with, like, I hope Taffy's having a good time, but I didn't know what to do with my hands from 8:30 to 3:30 Eastern. I can't wait for him to get back. I don't want to watch the VODs anymore. And it's like, it's bittersweet, but, at this point I've become a part of people's routine.
Yeah.
Have a schedule. Like, that's a really big thing for me. I've gone live at 4:30, 4 days a week for 7 years. And I might be a couple of minutes late at times, but I'm usually there. And that is a really big thing, because there'll be people waiting in your chat. If you're on Twitch, there might be people waiting in your chat, like talking, like the pre-game type deal. It's like the tailgaters hanging out, like wanting to talk and stuff like that. I've had people gift subs while I'm not live because, they want to support, even because everybody's there already. They can see it. And that is such an underrated thing, is having a set schedule that people can follow. Because I have people that say, like, hey, I actually schedule my time around your stream because I want to watch you. And it's so powerful. And like there are tools that you can use to do that. Like Streamlabs has like a countdown tool you can put as your thing, or just have write it down on a piece of paper, take a picture of it and make it one of the panels on your Twitch channel. It's like, there's so many ways to let people know when you're going live. And another quick thing, if you are a Twitch caster and you're not utilizing community tab on YouTube, you are missing out on a massive, massive pool of people. Because now, I just started doing this about a month ago. And every day that I go live, which is 4 days a week, I will put something out on the community tab on YouTube and be like, hey, check out this cool thing. I have a poll. I have a question for y'all. Have you thought of this? Also, I'm live. And that has increased my viewership by 20 to 40% per day.
Jiminy Christmas.
It's incredible how just not doing a going live tweet, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live. Make it fun. Make people click on it. Make people excited that, hey, he's done something. Oh my gosh, he's going to be streaming. I did a poll on YouTube, and 50% of my YouTube audience did not know that I streamed on Twitch.
I have some YouTube viewers who think I'm dead.
Please post a
That's
community
literally
tab.
true.
They'll know you're alive.
Well, it's like I'll post a video and they'll be like, holy shit, he's still going.
Yeah, but yeah, there are so many tools, and if you utilize them in a really fun way, and make people excited to see the next thing from you, then that is a really powerful tool to bring people in, because when you're live, that's your time to really go 100%, right? And if I can give one more piece of advice, which is going to go completely against how you stream.
Good.
Fight.
Stop streaming so much.
No.
Hear me out. Stop streaming to the point where it is detrimental, okay? Oh, God. Stop streaming so much, because, if you... Y'all are great.
If it's 5 a.m. and if you have to be at MAGFest, leave for
Yeah.
MAGFest
This is
at
weird.
11.
You and I have aligned.
Yeah, I know. So what I mean by that is, instead of doing an 8-hour stream per day, yeah, exactly. Instead of doing that, cut it down by a little bit and take that time that you would be streaming at low energy after a while, use that to utilize other platforms, whether it be YouTube Shorts or YouTube, or God forbid TikTok, or whatever it is that you want to use. I don't like TikTok. I'm sorry. It stresses me out. Thank you. I hate TikTok. So TikTok actually does stress me out because there's no way to schedule posts unless you're a business account. Also, you have to upload them straight from the app, or you get completely buried in the algorithm, or blah 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 blah. It sucks for me. But anyways, that's why YouTube Shorts are great. But take that time and use it to diversify. And I believe you've been doing that recently as well.
Yeah. So with what Jared was saying there is like diversify your content, right? And obviously I can't stream while I'm here on this panel or while I'm hanging out with people here at the con or if I'm at my hotel room asleep or whatever. I have made a bunch of YouTube videos and a bunch of YouTube content that I've scheduled to go up while I'm here so that my community has something to do, so that they're still engaged while I'm not actively creating content.
That's smart.
And that goes with what you said. I stream too much. It's unhealthy, and you should not stream as much as I do. It's a habit at this point to just do it as much as I do. But he's right. You need time for yourself. You need time to be creative within yourself, not just with your community, not just with the streams that you do, but with the ideas that you come up with. Your best ideas might happen while you're in the shower, or it might happen when you're laying in bed and can't sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. You pull out your notepad on your phone. Ooh, that's a good idea, and you might end up making loads of money off that idea. It's very possible to do, but you can't do that if you're always streaming.
Yeah.
And you will burn yourself out so quickly. Even if you do variety streams, every day you stream something different. Even if you do that, you're still going to burn yourself out eventually. 70 hours a week is a lot. And it can be rough.
I will chime in and say, unless your name is HC Justin, in which case you're just doing it all
I know
the
I
time.
run myself ragged, but I genuinely love it.
Yeah.
One of the nicest compliments I ever got from a friend who streams is someone who's like who I consider like the pinnacle of streaming. He was like, that's his advice always is like, don't stream as much. But he was like, honestly, he was like, Justin, like I could tell you're the streamer I know who like loves doing this the most. And like, I don't know. I've hit a point now where a lot of my content bridges into like a lot of days I'll just cook dinner.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, I'm turning on the kitchen camera. It's dinner time.
Yeah,
And
yours really is bridging into like low-key reality television at this point.
it's getting a little Truman Showish. I will say it's making it hard.
Yeah.
I guess I can add on to that. It's everybody has their limit.
For sure,
Right.
for sure.
Don't push your limit.
I don't.
Yeah.
I always feel bad. I always feel like I'm putting forward the image through my channel because I have a lot, tons of people who watch me who also want to stream, and I think they're sitting there being like, "Oh, I just have to do 14 hours a day like Justin." And I'm like, "No, don't, please."
Well, I'll chime in there, and I got a specific question for Taffy on this topic is, when you were going out there and building your career, hobby, whatever it is as a content creator, the last thing you should do is compare yourself to every other content creator, because the minute you try and compare yourself to
That's
every
nightmare
other
fuel.
content creator,
That'll drive you insane.
it's going to drive you insane.
Yeah.
And also, if you mimic that other content creator, why are people going to watch you?
You're just the diet
You're
version
just
of that.
Yeah, exactly, like your Diet Coke Carnage.
Yeah, Diet Coke Carnage.
Yeah, which
That
is-
was my first Twitch name.
yeah. So
Became a branding issue.
and even like people that try and follow in the footsteps it's awesome. You can learn a lot of stuff there. But if you want to really make your own footprint, you got to take your own path. So, that was really philosophical. I want to write that down.
That's so nice.
But I got a specific question for you, Taffy, on this topic about picking content and whatnot. So
Go
Taffy
on.
here just flipped the bird to his game of 8 years or whatever.
I did.
And has completely swapped games. So Taffy, can you talk to us about keeping your community while changing your content drastically like that?
All right, so
And also tell us the story that led to it.
the last question kind of dovetails into this, which was, how do you describe your content? There's the elevator pitch, which is like, I've got 8,000 hours in The Binding of Isaac, most of those on stream. And then I became a variety broadcaster, and that ticked boxes on a survey. What my channel is really about is that I am a PhD course in the meme economy.
It's amazing.
I sell people an experience comparable to a really intense morning radio DJ talk show. That's what I think of my job as, is I'm like a community manager and a radio DJ at the same time. People are showing up most of my viewers are like middle-aged professionals working their job. I'm tab number 3 on monitor 2. They've got spreadsheets open. They're listening to me go baritone for 7 hours straight. I need to have interesting jokes and one-liners, observations. I still have to take enough time off to go watch TV and movies and keep up on current events. I have to go catch sporting events so that I can have takes. But ultimately, I found what worked for me was that I had audience members who had disposable income and were looking for a meme laugh to be had. And so we've engaged in that for years now, and it has rendered me hundreds of thousands of dollars. At one point, I had a viewer who thought it would be funny if we gave a gifted sub to every wrench at Twitch.
Every Twitch staff member.
Before we realized that there were 1,600 staffers. So he was good to his word and went through and individually gifted a sub to 1,600 people over 2 days.
Tier 3 subs.
Tier 3 subs.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's obscene.
This same viewer bought me a pergola because he thought it would be funny to watch me build it because I have no carpentry skills. He also had to buy me power tools because I have no carpentry skills. I actually know, and but I refuse to. I won't. It's not like I won't share him.
So
he's a very private person. I've actually had dinner with him on his private island. And
as his lawyer, don't answer.
It's a joke. It was in Florida. It was way worse.
As his
I was
lawyer, I
just in
can't answer
Orlando.
that question. So
Yeah, but that is like, I don't know. That is to say, like, I feel like we have. I was happy when we were doing this together because I feel like we have very different. We have very different approaches. To
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
But
we
it works
do.
for both
But it
of us.
works. We
Yeah,
both.
like it both works for us in the way it works.
Yeah.
Where it's like I feel like you approach yours in like a very professional way.
Yeah.
And, like you know what you're doing. Where I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, but like I take almost like a.
You're like laying railroad track in front of a train that's in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, before I did
Choo
Twitch
choo,
stuff,
Charlie.
before I did Twitch stuff, I was playing in punk bands.
Yeah.
That was my thing. And I
Cool.
take the same approach, where it's just like I'm just here to have fun, and I'm gonna meet other people who do this shit and try to play shows with them, like,
Yeah.
try to stream with them. Like,
that's why you're hardcore, Justin.
oh, thank you.
All right. So the other part was what? You asked how I changed my programming.
Yeah, change your programming.
Yeah, I played The Binding of Isaac for like 6 years because at one point I had a really shitty audience. I'll explain. So don't turn on me yet. I had imported a YouTube audience that was predominantly like Call of Duty focused, and it was toxic and shitty and had dwindled down to like 30 concurrents. And the goal each day was basically to see if they could make me rage to the point that I broke something. Like that was my content. It's a lot of fun, and I can't understand why nobody wanted to watch it. I started watching a streamer named LarsFest, who is like a shaman. He's just so chill. He's human ASMR, and he played the same game I did. And so that was the first step. Was I don't want to come to work miserable about who I'm going to run into every day. So I walked into my stream and said, this, I hate this. I hate how this is set up right now. So from here on out, we're going to be kinder, and we're going to be more welcoming and inclusive. And I had a couple of people, including one mod, who said, no. I'm like, no, we like it the way it is. And I was like, well, then you can fucking leave. Period. Full stop.
Yeah.
And I cleaned house, and 35 concurrents went down to 20, but the vibe was better.
Yeah.
And I networked with some people, and more folks came in, and more folks felt welcome to come in, and people weren't being run off by just how gross it was. And then it kind of fluctuated again, and it just goes back to the data and analytics thing where the audience hadn't fully transitioned because I was good at The Binding of Isaac, and I brought in a lot of people who wanted to watch The Binding of Isaac. So I played The Binding of Isaac even though I have been sick of The Binding of Isaac for years. But at one point I basically said, like, if I tried to play literally anything else, I'll stay in roguelikes. Like, let me go over to Enter the Gungeon, or let me try something else. And they were like, no, we'll leave. And I was like, oh, well, I appreciate your candor. I'm going to go cry myself to sleep. So I played Isaac for like 3 more years, despite hating it. I mean, like, I loved it when I started, but 8,000 hours is a lot of hours. And then Hades came out. Hades too. Yeah. I found my people. So Hades came out, and I had not, like, I got a Epic content creator code years and years ago for that to try to move it for Supergiant, and it was in super early access, and I just didn't play it because I knew I was shackled to The Binding of Isaac. So I just didn't want to play anything else. And at that point, people, I think, could feel that I was burnt out, and the audience churn had gotten to a point where the type of people I wanted to be around were now the type of people making up my audience. And I had gone from having a bunch of guys waiting for me to blow a fuse to actually having a community start to be built around me. And so they gave me a bunch of money and said, we don't want to see Isaac for at least a week. Please play Hades. And then Hades became my main game for a half a year. Like, I didn't play Isaac for a half a year, and it was blissful.
And then Hades died one day.
But then, yeah, you got to follow the analytics. I'm having an absolute gorgeous time playing Hades. I hadn't quite finished grinding out some of those absurd collectible grinds that you can do.
Titles, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna keep going until I get everything. I'm gonna complete it all, and then I'll think about changing.
You're a madman.
Dude, we literally went from having like 300, 400, 500 concurrents on like Monday, and on Wednesday, site-wide, I went down to like 130. And site-wide, it had dropped off a map, and I was just like, we just don't play Hades anymore. And by Thursday, after 6 months and no plan of doing this, I was back to Isaac. I'm on Noida now, which is, I'm so addicted to that game.
Sounds cool.
Noida is kind of my game right now. I did Gungeon just kind of as a retro throwback, and part of it was I think Noah's trying to goad me.
Yeah.
Noah's trying to goad me into.
Just real quick, TLDR.
TLDR was that Isaac went down a road that Isaac's creator went down a road that I didn't really like. Ed has a tendency to change the game and kind of like carve the fun out of it. But whatever, like that game bought me a house. So like bygones are bygones, it's all right.
Yeah.
I just didn't play it as much. But then the G Fuel thing happened. Like the Four Souls marketing I thought was pretty gross. There was like fart on your grandmother and record it and y'all bag gas and put it on the internet and like get a fresh Isaac tattoo. Old ones don't count. And I was like,
I have never heard of that.
oh, it was the Four Souls
I'm glad that I
Kickstarter
didn't
campaign.
hear of that, honestly.
I kind of checked out.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? He can do him. I'll do me. I'll play his game because I have to. But then the G Fuel thing happened recently. And the long story short was that G Fuel came out with a brand called Isaac's Tears. He put a daily in the game where Isaac drank a thing of G Fuel on every floor, and it was all like 2014 Doritos and Mountain Dew humor of like air horns and screen shake and explosions and stuff. I mused because it's the first time I'd played Isaac in a while. I mused and I was like, "Do you think Edmund hates us? Like, is this why we're being punished?" And he just happened to be in chat. And I think he kind of did. I think he thinks he caught me with my hand in the cookie jar, but I was just like, yo, I'm kind of glad you're here. I got a couple things I want to get off my chest.
And without going any further, he doesn't play Isaac anymore.
And now I play Noida, is what it boils down to. And Eugenics comes out in 15 years, I'll have to pay for my own copy.
Yep. So guys, we have about 12 minutes. Nobody tell me otherwise left. We want to open this up for questions. We have a handy dandy mic. Also, if you can't get up to the mic, please just raise your hand. We'll make sure it gets to you. So go ahead and do the mic thing.
We love the mic thing.
The mic thing's great.
Yeah. Also, just real quick, everybody up here except for Jacob, I think, has an LLC, and you should too.
No, I do.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think
Jacob,
you
was
set
set
it up.
Me set it up.
That was like 3 years ago, Jacob. I just put 2 and 2 together. All right, cool.
Panelists, whoever the question's directed at, they've asked that we repeat the question into the
We
microphone.
will, yeah. We will
So-
repeat the question, even though there is also a mic. All right, buddy.
Okay.
Hit us up.
It was very short. Sorry.
Very short
Yeah,
mic.
there we
There
go.
we go.
Karaoke time.
Okay, so I have to do my little disclaimer. Thank you very much. Timothy D. Craig at WERA 96.7 FM.
Cool. Pleasure to meet you.
All right. So, 2 questions. One, this whole panel has been live streamed, which is awesome. But there may be some content creators like myself who's pre-recorded.
Cool.
So, my question, if any of you have any experience in this world, what advice would you give for moving from pre-recorded to live stream? And then the second follow-up question to that is, because most of the focus on this panel has been games, do you feel that that is the primary content to stream, or do you feel that there's room for other bits of content? And the reason I'm asking that is because of RGT45,
Yeah.
and him putting out a video yesterday about the changes on YouTube for creators who create games, create content with games.
So the questions are, what advice do we have for people that are going from static content or pre-recorded content to live streaming content? And then the second part of that was, do we think gaming is the primary content, or can you do other things as well? I'll just take one of you answer each question because we got a lot of questions. So
I'll real quick. I'll do it. One is that the best piece of advice I can give because I came from YouTube to Twitch, is to import your audience. and you will have such a monster leg up on Twitch. Because so many people go on to live streaming platforms and they spend the first 2 years at one viewer and you're not sure if it's Nightbot. And it's rough, and that's demoralizing.
That's true. It is a true thing.
Yeah, unless you really love it. I mean, unless you really love the mechanical act of going through the process of booting everything up, that is soul crushing. So if you can even get 10, 15, 20, 100, preferably, like bring over as many people as you can and have them be the seed that sprouts that garden, you're already a step ahead of the game. The second question, as far as like, does it need to be gaming? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, the entire drive up is me and him talking about how we want to diversify away from games and start getting into potentially food reviewing in the region.
Or drumming.
Yeah, I am 100% a drumming creator. Like, that's all I do is I do a concert. I'll play games every now and then, but I've been able to make a career out of playing drums for people on the internet. And you can literally do whatever it is that makes you happy.
He won't say it, but he's the most successful person in the panel, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
He's too modest to tell you that. He doesn't game, really.
Yeah, I've played probably, I don't even know, like 5 different games, but mostly it's music.
Yeah, he crushes doing not game.
So, next question. Thank you.
Yeah, so lots of good talk on the panel about like not siloing yourself to one specific game, knowing how to kind of shift your audience over, and doing a lot of that based on data. But like, is there any kind of X factor of knowing that you're not just like chasing the latest game, that you're actually able to differentiate yourself? You're not just one of like 4,000 people playing the latest game, but actually taking your brand to it and not scuttling all of your existing membership.
So the question is, how do you make sure that you, while diversifying your content, aren't just chasing the latest fad?
Yeah.
I'll take this
One of these two.
So here's the thing, right? If you focus on one thing, well, let's say you're a speedrunner and you speedrun one particular game, and then you're like, I want to try a different game. Half your audience is gone because they only are interested in that one game. So the advice I would give you is something that I do, and that's, I don't focus on the game at all. I focus on that chaotic energy, right? If they come to your stream or they watch your YouTube videos or whatever that it is you make, because of you, it does not matter what you play, they will come. So if you're chasing the latest thing, you're probably going to notice a drop in your viewership because you're hoping to get some new people, but the people that come for you, they'll still be there, but the ones that are, oh, well, I wonder if he's playing a first-person shooter today, or I wonder if he's playing a puzzle game today. They're just going to be like, it's whatever's the latest thing. And another thing you have to worry about is a lot of people avoid streams of newer stuff for spoiler purposes. You can chase those fads if you want, but brace yourself and temper your expectations and be ready to, invite people that are already part of your community. Keep them invited and keep that chaotic energy or whatever kind of energy you want. Make sure they know that this is still what you do.
You're
it just
hosting
so
a
happens
show.
to be that you're doing that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to rapid fire through these questions. Next question.
Hello. I have one question for all of you and one question specifically for the 8-bit drummer.
Fantastic.
So one, I've been streaming on Twitch for about 2 or so years at this point, and I'm still at the very ground level. I can barely get 4 viewers.
Yeah.
So I guess my main question would be, how do you fall into the eventual natural spiral upward?
Okay.
And then the second question is, as a person who has a music minor, how would you start doing music content creation for Twitch to not have specifically just gaming, but just for music content creation as a whole?
All right, who's got the first one?
Repeat it.
Yeah, okay, so first question was, how do you fall into spiraling upwards, right?
Yeah, basically.
And second question was a very music-specific question about
how to start.
How to get your start.
how to
doing
get started in
content.
music.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'll do the music content first one. So people want to watch people having a good time. And what is it that you play?
So I play trumpet.
Yes.
I've been, funnily enough, actually starting to learn how to do set. But the main thing that I do is arrange.
Okay.
So I have experience in MuseScore because it's free and college student, be like that. Although I have experience in Ableton, and so I was just, one of the ideas that I had was remaking the entire Pokemon Legends Arceus soundtrack, but actually as Japanese instruments.
Ooh.
Be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, I know it's Nintendo. I'm well aware.
It's a great idea.
This
but
might be a question for after the panel.
Yes. Yeah. So to get started, if you're going to be performing, make it as fun as you want. Make it as fun as you would, if you're going to a concert, because there are two different types of music streams, in my opinion. There's a concert and then there's a production stream. Where production, you're showing your content and you're showing how to do things. It's more like a tutorial and working through your workflow. While a performance, what I do is you go as bombastic and as hard as you can. You have a good time. You have crazy alerts and do things of that nature. Because
What if you want to do both?
if you want to do both, then make
Then ask
scheduled
him after
days
the panel.
for
Okay.
performance, and then for what did I say? Creation.
production.
Yes.
Build it on Monday, play it.
And
Yeah.
for the upward spiral thing, find us afterwards. That's a long answer.
Yeah.
I will
Long
happily give you the
answer.
answer to that later. It's
Sure.
really just
All right,
it's
I'll
really
take
just
it.
try everything.
Yeah, it's
I'm a full variety, so at this point, I've literally tried everything under the
Yeah,
sun.
it's a lot of stuff. It's playing with other people. It's getting social media posts. It's being consistent with your schedule. It's like a 30-point thing.
Got
Yeah.
it. All right, so just repeat what has been said in the presentation so far.
yeah. So basically,
Basically.
grab us afterwards on that one.
Grab us afterwards, and
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
happily go into deeper detail. but
Yeah, cool.
All right, thank you.
We have 4 minutes, so we're gonna zoom through these.
Let's go.
One sentence answers if you can do it, boys.
Yeah, buddy.
That's golden coming from
So I've been failing at creating content for like 20 years.
Nice.
I was like an actor like that.
I already know that my main problem is consistency, but the bigger problem is motivation. So if you're just like starting or have been starting for a long time, how do you stream when you've got like zero? I think my highest concurrent was 12.
Okay.
How do you stream when you've got an extremely small or even non-existent zero audience?
The question is, how do you keep streaming when you've got nobody or very few people in there?
You got to know why you're streaming. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Is if you're streaming for the love of the game, because like honestly, I took a year off because my wife was sick, and I had to take care of her, and I thought my streaming career was over, and I actually found that it was virtually impossible for me to play video games without at least thinking somebody was watching me. Like I'd start and then just stop, and I was like, I don't like this. So I would probably go back to 10 or 15. I went back to 30, which was down from my first stream ever, where it was 500 concurrents. So you got to find the motivation. Like if you're being motivated by fame or money, it's gonna be a tough slog. If you're motivated for the love of the game and you just like the process of streaming, it's like Jared said, we could sit up here and talk shop. I mean, for crying out loud, it's one of my favorite things to do is just sit and talk shop for as
Yeah,
bleak
for
as
real.
I come off.
I would say my number one answer for that is stream for you.
Yeah.
Like stream for you because it's so easy to try to follow all the numbers. It's so easy to fall in that rut of worrying about, oh my God, where is this going? Where is this going? If you're streaming for you, the numbers will come. It does take time. It
Yeah.
really does. But the most important thing, in my personal opinion, is that you're having fun doing it.
Yep.
And if you're having fun doing it, those 12 viewers, you never know. One of those viewers might drop a bomb on you one day in the form of support. Like I've seen somebody get a car bought for them on Twitch. It's ridiculous. But it was for a streamer who had 12 viewers. But it was one viewer who loved their content. And that is the thing. It's like it's hard to not worry about the numbers, but remember behind every number is a person sitting on their computer.
Yep.
And they're watching you and they're loving you.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. So two things real quick. First question is for all of us who have full-time jobs that are not content creating
Yeah.
and looking for some advice on time management and motivation, specifically for stuff like in thinking about trying to do streaming, how important is something like diversifying for a part-time element, something like Discord and Twitter and all things that take time that for me personally, I come home from my day job and I'm burned out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit on Discord or Twitter, but the idea of streaming or other content is still a drive enough. So any advice on that? And then secondly, specifically for art streamers, any advice on how to potentially structure a community or anything about art streaming? I'm seeing quite a few art streamers that still do a dual role with games. They'll do games one like a Saturday, and then Wednesday they'll do their actual art stream, or they'll flip-flop, or they sometimes just do emotes or things like that. So any advice for potential art streamers?
I'm going to go ahead and tackle these two.
Yeah, go for it.
So the questions are, first of all, how do you do time management and building a community around a part-time streaming schedule? Thank you. And then the second question is for art streamers, how do you build your art stream? Do you diversify your content there, that kind of stuff? So the first one is when you are streaming, when you have the energy to stream on a part-time schedule after coming home from your day job, I'm a full-time lawyer. Like, I represent content creators, and so when I stream, I'm exhausted. But the key is to build that community and say, hey, listen, let's keep talking on Twitter. Let's build the Discord community. Y'all talk to each other. If you create a welcoming place that people will come to, then they're there for that community and also for you. Does that make sense? And so directing them to that Discord or whatever allows that community to grow in itself, and you're just the unifying factor for it. So that's kind of how you're going to build that. And then it kind of dovetails into the second question as an art streamer. I know a lot of art streamers, arts and crafting to say, stream just that, but a lot of them also play like fun, warm games that they really enjoy. So, for example, a good friend, Momo Crafting, is a crafting streamer, and obviously that's in the name. And they stream games occasionally, but mainly what they're doing is they're doing crafting stuff within the community of art and crafting streamers. And so that kind of network, finding those discords, will allow you to grow your platform, your stream, because those people will pop in because it's a really tight-knit community. So then they'll also share their audiences, do raids, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. All right, we got time for
Thank you.
a negative question. Is that what I'm getting from the back? The top hat is nodding at me.
It's a witch's hat.
It's the witch's
Wizard's
hat. Okay, the magician's hat is nodding at me that we are out of time. I'm so sorry for you at the front of the line. That absolutely sucks.
I will say, I'm more than happy to come over here and answer questions.
Yeah, happy to talk to anybody.
If you come find us, because we would love to answer.
I'm literally just going to
We
walk
just
Hang
stream
on.
all day. It's so
Real
nice
quick.
to talk to people.
Yeah.
If you want to find everybody, quickly shout out what your Twitter is.
That's a good question. I don't even remember. Secret Agent J, I think it is on
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah.
The 8-bit drummer everywhere.
I'm Mick Laffy Taffy everywhere that matters.
8C Justin everywhere except on Twitter. There's an extra N.
And I am my lawyer friend. Thank you all so much. This has been amazing.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
Thank you, y'all.
I hope you